pupils, this is Sharmila Kaushik, and if you're watching this, you are the learning kind. This is brought to you by Perpetual Pupil, experts at learning and development, currently focused on bringing new perspectives to education. Hi, ma'am. You have done a lot of work in integrating technology with education, and we keep hearing the word LMS again and again. Could you please tell me what that is and how it works?
Right. So LMS, as the name goes, is Learning Management System. I'll just write it off here. Right. So let me make you understand what is an LMS, what's an learning management system. So when you look at a classroom, what do you see? Who are the important components in the classroom? Students and teachers. Apart from that, what else do you think is important for a classroom to function? Curriculum, right? So there is...
That was the right answer?
Yes, exactly. So there is a teacher persona, there is a student persona when it comes to a classroom, right? Now, how does a teacher teach? The teacher is going to, you have a curriculum, you have a textbook, right? So is it that we just read out from the textbook? Is that going to be interesting for the class?
No. I know from experience.
Right? We don't like a classroom which is wherein a teacher is just standing and reading. So you need to make the classroom interactive. Now, are all the teachers experienced enough to do that? In some cases, majority of the cases, yes, teachers do know how to make the class interesting, but there are a few cases wherein they require a lot of hand-holding. And one-on-one hand-holding might not be possible all the time. So that's where the LMS comes to rescue of a teacher, because you're going to have all that you require to teach in a class, right from how you deliver the lesson in the form of lesson plans, you could have your textbook, you could have assessments, right? All going on through the LMS. Now, students, do they just like if I make them sit in a place and just keep talking, or if it's only textbook and writing? No, they definitely do not like that. They all want to have a lot of activities, a lot of engagement. The LMS provides that also. You could have a lot of gamification on the LMS.
Oh, nice.
Right? Which is going to... You could have a lot of gamification on the LMS. Sorry. Could have a lot of gamification on the LMS, wherein one particular concept you try and make it a virtual, virtually you explain it to them. They are in the classroom, but they get an experience of what it is. A lot of times you have these abstract concepts and teachers don't know how to explain it. How do I make the child understand?
Like atoms?
Like atoms, exactly. Suppose if I'm talking to them about, say, even a small thing as an aquarium or as a zoo or an under ocean, how many of the students have actually gone, or how many of us have actually done the scuba dive to see the marine creatures?
Not many.
Not many. So you can have those kinds of gamification, those kinds of animations on the LMS, which is going to help the students to understand. So basically, an LMS is kind of streamlining the teaching and the learning. Is it enough only if we do that? No, we also have to, end of the day, the proof of the pudding is when you have taught the lesson, when you do an assessment, and when you see how well the children have understood.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's where you can have a lot of assessments on the LMS. Now again, the assessments need not be just simple MCQs or fill in the blanks or match the following. You could also add in a lot of life into the assessment. Make the assessment as an assessment for learning rather than assessment of learning. Don't assess how much the children have learnt. Rather, make assessment also as a tool to make sure that they learn something from that assessment. Right? Now, once you do the assessment, how do you know how the students have performed? That is where the reports that you can automate and generate on the LMS is going to help. These reports are going to give us an idea of how the student performance is. What are the questions which children are finding it difficult? What concepts do I have to reinforce? Right?
Interesting.
Apart from all of this, it's learning is something which is doesn't stop as long as we are alive, right? So we need to keep learning every day. How do teachers do that? They need to keep upskilling themselves. It's not essential if I may be wonderful in my content knowledge. I may be
Yeah.
an excellent science teacher, or I may be excellent math teacher. I know the content, but I don't know to deliver it.
Yeah.
What is the point? No.
Correct.
So that's why teaching is something, it's a skill, it's an art, which not everybody is going to, get it. But if they continue to learn, then everybody can attempt to be a good teacher. So you can have a lot of trainings for the teachers on the LMS, right? So how would these trainings, these days you have a lot of platforms which are offering you the self-paced training. So you do it as working professional at your own leisure. You can take your own time and complete it. There is certification that happens.
Yeah.
You also have a lot of opportunity to collaborate with other teachers across the globe.
Nice.
Right?
Like a social media.
Like a social media, but yes, an educational platform
Nice.
wherein you are connecting with teachers of your same, teachers who share the same
Values,
kind of interests, right? So basically, an LMS for me, if you consider this board, I can fill it up with a lot of things that it's going to offer, right from which starts with the teaching, learning, and how do you assess them? Now, again, what happens is in a school setup, it's not limited only with teacher and the student. There is a parent element also which comes into role, and the parent persona is very, very, very important because they are going to be the bridge between the teachers and the student. Between the school and the home is the parent element who's going to be the bridge. So the parents also on the LMS can see how their students are performing, how their children are performing, right? So basically, the learning management system or an LMS is nowadays, since it's being adapted by a lot of schools, and it has kind of reduced the amount of work, the amount of time that the teachers are going to invest in preparing for their class. They don't have to sit and write those long work diaries and make them beautiful and fancy. It's all available on the LMS. So the teachers these days have a lot of time in hand which they can utilize to focus on the student performance and work one-on-one. On the LMS, you could also look at personalized learning. With the technology, evolving, you can integrate the artificial intelligence into the LMS, wherein you have personalized learning, right? If I'm not of my appropriate grade level, my friends need not know at what level I am, right? I may be at grade 8, but still not have my concepts of grade 6 very clear. So how does that happen? The LMS integrated with AI can do that. It can help me with the concepts at the basic level. At the same time, by end of 8th standard, I want to reach that 8th standard. I can't be at 6th still. And then in 9th, I do 7th. It doesn't work like that. So you could also, increase the pace at which these students are learning.
Interesting.
Right? So basically, for me, the LMS, if you say, is like a biochemical reaction where you have the catalyst which enhances the pace of the reaction, and LMS is something that's accelerating the learning.
Wow, very interesting, ma'am. When you mentioned assessments, can LMS also, evaluate and create reports on subjective answers? Which is, like you said, it's not just about MCQs.
Yes.
How does it process subjective
So what happens is that there are a lot of applications available wherein you could give in the keywords that you're expecting in that particular answer. There are scanners available wherein you scan it and it evaluates the answers.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank
That was amazing. I think I have a clearer picture of what learning management systems are. We have a very exciting guest today, Miss Lalita Ganesh, who is a trailblazing educator with over 8 years of experience in research. She is passionate towards learning and innovation and is dedicated to using technology to transform education. Let's hear more about it from her. Ma'am, let's start with rapid fire round so that I know you some more. My first question is, what's your favorite pastime?
Favorite pastime, not doing anything.
Not doing anything. Okay. What is your go-to order when you go to a restaurant?
Fried rice.
Nice. Which is your favorite innovation related to education?
The adaptive learning, AI powered adaptive learning.
Wow, nice. And your favorite author or book?
Favorite book is The Code Breaker by Isaac Waldstad.
Nice. Thank you. I think that's very interesting. I would probably prefer to get something Indian. How come fried rice?
I find it much faster to, eat.
Oh, okay. No sentimental attachment.
No, nothing.
Okay.
It's bland and, much not very spicy.
Not very spicy, correct. So, ma'am, I know that you have actually studied a lot in the field of biology. You hold 2 masters in the life sciences. So, can you tell us a little about how you came from biology to integrating technology with education?
Right. So I started my career as a researcher and gradually, got into a lot of research for around 8 years. And again, I had to switch because of some circumstances. I thought, why don't I start going into teaching? And even during my research, I've been associated with a lot of students, guiding them on their dissertation and their thesis. So somewhere I had that inclination to get into teaching. That's how I became a teacher and then grew up as, in this field. Now, when you're doing research, you tend to do a lot of analysis of the patterns and the data analysis. So once I transformed, into this field of education, once I entered, I started analyzing the behavior of my children. It all started there. Especially when you're a primary teacher, you tend to analyze their behavior quite frequently, observe them, and see if there is any change. If there is a change, you try to see why there is a change. Similarly, with their assessment and their scores, somewhere these are very related. The way they perform during the assessment and how they are on the day of the assessment, right?
Oh.
And when you start analyzing this, when you start analyzing the performance of the students in a subjective paper, because those days we used to go more for a subjective evaluation, and observing them and seeing which question, how many students have got it correct, how many have not got it correct, doing the error analysis used to take a lot of time.
Okay.
So that's when I think, thanks to the technology which pitched into education, that time maximum we used to use was an Excel. So now it has like transformed education so much. And as Darwin's law, we all know the law of evolution. And if you have to survive, then you need to adapt, right? So as educators and the educational institutions have to adapt to this technology getting integrated into the system. So that's a very natural process that happened for me also, because I wanted to understand how we can utilize this. How do we reduce the time that the teachers are investing in preparing for the lessons? Having been a teacher myself, I understand how much of effort it takes to plan the curriculum, how much time you have to invest to prepare a worksheet, get an image from somewhere, put it on a Word file, get it printed. So it involves a lot of effort. That's when I, kind of thought that why don't we drive this technology integration in the schools?
Okay. Nice.
So that it makes the work of the teacher easier, at the same time giving her enough insights and giving her a lot of time to plan the personalized learning. So the ultimate purpose of education is to make sure that the children have understood the concepts, have got the idea of what we are teaching, are able to apply the concept, right? So for that, you need time.
Correct.
If you're involved doing all these kind of tasks, then you don't have the patience to sit and work with the children. So that's something which made me inclined towards driving technology in schools.
Nice. Ma'am, how do you facilitate teachers learning how to use these technologies?
It all happens through training. Right. Training is very, very important for the teachers, because you need to teach them how to use various platforms. What are the different platforms first available? How do you utilize them, and which platform is for what, right? And it is not only to juggle between the platforms or the basic utilization of the platform. Now with CBSE bringing in these competency-based questions and competency-based kind of assessments, are our teachers equipped to design such questions? Because we have not learnt it that way.
Yeah.
Right? So now to make the children answer a competency-based question, first, I should know how to frame the question. Second, I should know how to answer it.
Correct.
So that is where technology is going to help the teachers in providing that support. You given the appropriate prompts, generate the question, generate the appropriate responses. So you also understand how to answer a particular question. So teacher training is something which is very, very important in ensuring that they're comfortable to use these platforms.
Would you say that we can use LMS to facilitate training also, in terms of how well it can be used by teachers?
Yes, absolutely. Because a lot of LMSs offer the upskill or the teacher training platform. And you also have exclusive platforms which focus only on the teacher training. So you take up these modules, and which is definitely having a lot of your subject related content also. Additionally, you have the emotional quotient, you have the classroom management, you have time management, a lot of things which play a role in making one person a very good teacher, right? So use these LMSs, and with the performance or the way you finish the course, because you also get to submit your own assessment, and it is evaluated. You have platforms where there is a peer review done. You have an option for discussion. So your peers are rating your assessment. They're giving you the feedback. You are getting to rate somebody else's assessment. You're getting an opportunity to look at their perspective. So based on that, then with AI, you could also throw up what is the particular skill that I'm lacking in, that I need to work on. So those kind of training prompts can be given. So LMS serves as a very good tool for upskill of the teachers.
Is there a scope for students also to learn peer-to-peer?
Definitely, LMS can offer that, and there are a lot of platforms which do that as well, wherein you have the peer assessments, you collaborate with your peers on a platform itself, on a learning platform. There's a topic that's given. Now, currently, the collaboration in a physical classroom is restricted only within that class, or to a maximum within the school. When you have these clubs, you collaborate. But with technology gaining so much of moving so ahead, teachers and the students get an opportunity to collaborate globally. So you could also have peer discussions. You can get your project reviewed by your peer, get their inputs. You can collaborate with them and work on that.
That's very nice. When teachers and students interact with each other over LMS to kind of create reports for the students over their performance and everything, can LMS evaluate and assess a child subjectively? Because that is ideally what a teacher does. They're able to observe a child and kind of put them in the context of a society and school. Can LMS really do that?
Yes, you have the option to do that, which is again, I think in majority of the cases, AI driven, because I do understand a lot of higher education corrections and evaluations, maybe not at a school level currently, might not be happening in full swing across the country, but you have these implemented in a lot of colleges and higher education, wherein you have the subjective papers being evaluated by the system.
Yeah.
Right. So it is just just like I give what are the keywords that I'm
Criteria.
looking for. When we make a question paper as teachers, we also work on an answer key, right?
Right. Correct.
So that my parallel teacher and I score the children on the same criteria.
Nice.
So it's just like that. You feed in those keywords, and there are scanners which you can use to scan the answer script and get the evaluation done. Additionally, you also feel that as a teacher, no, this particular answer has been scored a little low. The child should deserve another 1 mark. Manual intervention is also possible to modify the system corrected answers.
Interesting. Can LMS also notice if an assignment has been plagiarized or taken from AI? Because that is the question nowadays. That is the trend in the questions that are coming on social media. Can we copy it from ChatGPT?
Yeah. So you do have applications, maybe not integrated onto an LMS, but there are a lot of other sources where you can identify whether a particular content is original or has it been taken from elsewhere.
Nice. We also noticed, ma'am, that you have a blog of your own. You also write a lot about biology. So how did being a parent or teacher inspire you to, how did you get to writing a blog?
Blogging started, maybe I would say, as a researcher. I used to read a lot. You are to go through a lot of papers and journals. And since we did not have much of technology those days, we used to make these, handwritten notes and try and infer what I have read. And when you do an experiment, you tend to analyze the data. What are the different ways in which you can interpret that?
Right, yeah.
Right. So those were probably, analyzing the data and putting it into words was kind of developed as a second nature out of the research days. And when I started writing is because I wanted to share my perspective with people. When I read a particular article, I always try to look at different perspectives of that. And not many posts though, but I do try to write and share it with others so that, when people read it, if it's useful, they use it. Otherwise, they give me constructive feedback. I can improvise on that.
That's wonderful, I think. We all at some point should write blogs, right? I mean,
because it makes you more creative. You start thinking on your own, and a lot of times it also, I think, helps in developing empathy, because you try to put yourselves in somebody else's shoe, and you try to do that, and knowledge sharing happens a lot when you start writing.